I kind of wanted to just go a little bit deeper with the Girl Cave too, because I also heard you mention, you started the franchise model. So what did that process look like whenever you say, okay, I want to expand, but I want to do it through franchising? How did that look like and the knowledge you had to go through?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just acknowledging my capacity as a person. The retail stores were doing really good and I kept opening stores, but then I was stretched too thin at home in my other businesses. And I said, well, how can I grow this brand without me having to be present in every retail space? And so the franchise model came to mind. And what it also does too is it's not just about expanding the brand, which is great. I love it, obviously, but it's about giving other women, other families an opportunity to enjoy or understand the success that we have had here in Los Angeles. So that's what is exciting for me. And it's all women of color. It's all families. It's like a sisterhood that we're creating with the franchisees, and we just bounce ideas off of each other. We're constantly texting, emailing, and what works in Dallas might not work in LA, but something that does work in Dallas might work in LA, and we're taking ideas from each other, and it's more collaborative. And to be honest with you, since we became a franchise earlier this year, all of the stores have done better, and I attribute that to me not just being the only leader. There's other leaders because there's different owner operators. So if I'm doing something that's not, great, I have 4, 5, 6 other women looking at it and saying, well, let's try it this way. And we're adjusting as a company. So it's really, really, really exciting. It's good.
I love that
Yeah, I love
example.
it too.
First off, it's Black woman owned, so like it's Black woman owned franchise. We don't hear about that very often, and it's a
Right.
beauty franchise, and it speaks to a lot of things we like to talk about with this podcast. Like one of the biggest things we love talking about is building a team and like how trying to do everything yourself always limits you in business. And it's just beautiful to hear that example in it because it's like, a lot of people have apprehensions, especially like as a new entrepreneur, like with a business that you built from the ground up yourself. You look at it like, oh, this is my baby. Like I can't let nobody touch it. But
Right.
whenever you finally let go of that control, you starting to see everything flourish more. And like now, not only is it not all on you, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit less stressful too. Now
Absolutely.
that now that it's like it's not all on your brain to put out what you need for Girl Cave.
And I kind of want to piggyback off of that too, because whenever you franchise, it's not even like you really just gave up control, because along with that franchise, and you're giving them the structure and the rules and the criteria to follow. So it's really like, okay, this is just what you have to do. Just don't fuck it up. Like that's all you got to not do.
It's literally cookie cutter. It's a manual, a big book that you get, step A through Z. So it is, right? So it is. I mean, had I had the opportunity to buy into a franchise when I started this business 5 years ago, I would have absolutely done it because you pay for your mistakes. Listen, this is like business. So either you pay to get the information or you pay to bang your head against the wall. So either way, you're going to pay. So if it were me, I would rather pay into a franchise, somebody like me that's already banged their head against the wall and figured out what works and what doesn't, and then just grow it from there. And the good thing is that since we're a new franchise, we're more flexible with how we govern inside of the stores. We let the owners have a little bit more creativity and a little bit more input than a typical franchise. You go into McDonald's, you do what McDonald's says. Yeah. You don't get to have too much flexibility. But with the Girl Cave, we want to be collaborative because we are a growing company. We're 5 years in, so we're still considered, small and new, but it's great to have different women from different walks of life have input and see the company grow the way it's growing right now.
I love that. And I kind of want to ask, like, what does that look like going through the process to get ready to, no, not even to open the store yet, like just to franchise your business model. If you have something that's successful in your city and you want to say, okay, I feel like I want to expand, where do I go talk to a franchising lawyer, or like, what's the process of me actually wanting to get that ball rolling?
Yeah, I'm sorry if my internet connection is a little funky.
That's all good.
We're gonna play. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. So for me, it was going directly to a lawyer because I already had the business structure kind of in my mind because I was a franchisee. The juice bar I own is part of a franchise. So I understood the structure. So for me, it was going straight to an attorney and putting those ideas on paper with her and having her create a manual and something that was a legal process. If someone else was looking to start a franchise, I would say the first thing to do would get a business consultant that's done it before, because having a franchise is a little bit more complicated than just having a regular DBA or LLC or something like that. It's a lot of principles and guidelines that go into place to make sure that that you stay profitable, that you stay legal, all of those things. So definitely a business consultant, then after that, an attorney.
Hey, I love it.
So yeah. Now, with my question, I would kind of wanted to know, like, because I know you mentioned like opening the store yourself. Somebody might be interested in that. Like, could you kind of talk us through the process of opening like
their own girl cave? What if I want to? I heard this. Now I want one. Like, what I gotta do?
Come on, we accept the applications every day. I'll send you one.
Every day.
Yeah. So really what it is there are some financial requirements. We want to make sure that somebody's not like getting in over their heads. But to be honest with you, the real thing is to make sure the person is a good fit, because we are building a community. So somebody that is flexible, somebody that understands that this is a Black woman owned, Black men owned, family owned business, and kind of uphold that on their social media, the way they interact with their customers in the store. So I can tell within 15 minutes of interacting with somebody if they're going to understand what we've created here in Los Angeles. So yeah, there's a between an $8,000 to $10,000 buy-in, but that gets you basically your setup as far as all of your legal documents getting together and helping you find a location and all of your vendor accounts established, everything that it takes to open the door. And then you just get your product in based upon what you want to carry and based upon what we have selected for our franchisees to carry. And I mean, honestly, it's something that you could probably do with $40,000. So a small business loan, a small savings, you could do it. But the return is tremendous in the beauty industry. So most of our franchisees, even one that we opened in Compton, she had a goal to do 6 figures in 6 months. She did it in 3 months in sales. So it's a business that, I love that. I need one of these.
But I need you to continue. You told us people.
It's a
dropping bombs. I'm sorry.
No, I wanted you to continue telling us about her doing these 6 figures in the 3 months.
Yeah, so I mean, she was the first franchisee in the city of Compton. She was from Compton. So a lot of community support. Just diligent. Earlier than most stores in the area. Open a half an hour later than most stores in the area. She's just diligent, and she came up with this goal of doing 100,000 in 6 months in sales. And we looked up, and we're like, girl, you did it in 80 something days. But that shows the capacity of somebody that kind of just like wants to, and that's why franchise is so beautiful. There's other stores that have opened and are not even close to that number. So really the capacity comes from the owner. The owner, you can be creative and create your own wealth in your own store. So that's just what she decided to do. And
I like that because it speaks to the power of goal setting. Like, especially with numbers, I'm getting real big on that. Like, if you don't have a number that you're working toward, then you're really not engaged. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not really playing the game the way it should be played. Because if you don't have something that's really trackable, measurable, like, what's the goal, you know? Can't just be like, I want to have a profitable business.
I hate when people say that. I just want to be profitable. I just want to make money. Well, how much money? And in how much time, right? And how are you going to get to that goal? So it's really not about talking up here. It's about talking right here and just kind of making that something that's realistic. And when she first said 100,000 in 6 months, I was like, well, you could do it, but I want to see how. And she had a whole plan. She had a whole marketing plan, and she worked her plan and she did it.
Hey, that's beautiful. Shout out to her.
Yeah, Ashley Brown from the city of Compton.
Hey, shout out
to you, Ashley. Man, we need the horns.
Yeah, I ain't got the horns, man. I ain't got the horns. I do got this one though.
Damn, son, where'd you find that?
I can't with this dude. So, Leah, I did have one more question regarding the beauty industry. So I did kind of want to know, like, with the vendors and the accounts, these people, these are usually like out of the country people? Is these like international relations that you having to build, or this is more so just like you're talking to people stateside with these accounts?
Yeah, they're all domestic. Atlanta is a big city, Chicago. A lot of hair vendors are here in Los Angeles. There's some in New Jersey. There's some in New York. And most of them really do business on their cell phones. It's not anything super creative. There's no like web structure. They just are big businessmen with warehouses with lots of money to buy lots of product, and you just order what you want on your phone. It's that simple.
And I'm glad you said web-based business, like, and because I wanted to get into the effects of COVID earlier this year. Did you guys see like a downturn during that? And did y'all kind of like switch to more online selling?
Yeah, so we had to pivot immediately when COVID hit, because a lot of the cities where our stores are in, they didn't deem us essential at first. And we had to fight the cities to say we are an essential business because it's grooming. So I would say within 48 hours of the shutdowns happening here in Los Angeles, we shifted to a delivery and a curbside delivery model until we were able to get our basically our explanation back from the city that we could reopen. So we thrived in the pandemic because a lot of other beauty supplies that are considered our competition were closed because they weren't fighting the city like I was. I'm like, hold on, we have a whole operation and I got 20 girls that rely on a paycheck every Friday. We cannot shut down. So we just were creative. We did follow the rules. We did social distancing. We did curbside and delivery and all those fun things I talked about. But it was really getting the mayors to convince them that beauty supplies are essential for Black people.
I like that. That's very smart, and y'all really reacted in a very effective way. So that was very, very smart on y'all part.
Thank you.
And now I kind of want to move forward because out of necessity, that's how your franchise model was started. How do you manage all of these things, being a mom and being a wife? Like, because I don't know, well, now that we're recording this, but you're in your daughter's room right now doing this podcast. Yeah. So like, people, sometimes they'll see a lot of success. Oh, she's doing all of this. She must not have a life. So how do you manage that? How do you keep that work-life balance?
Yeah, I think it's not cute. I don't think it's glamorous all the time, right? It's like sometimes there's bad days. There's days where my kids feel like I'm not giving them enough. And there's times where my business feels like I'm not giving it enough, my employees, my leadership team. But what I've just learned is just to have grace with myself and really just do the best that I can every day and really just take care of the things that I have to take care of, and everything else kind of figures itself out. So I would be lying if I sat here and said, oh, I've learned how to balance and everything is good. And no, there's days that I don't make as much money as I would want to because I scale back and I'm here with family. And then there's days where I'm like during the pandemic, I don't think my kids saw me for about a week straight because we were getting operations together in place in the stores. So I was missing when my kids were going to bed. I was coming home 2 or 3 hours after they were sleeping. So it's just it's a commitment to just be my best self and just to make it work. It's not cute though all the time.
I love the transparency in it though, because like everybody wants to, you know, see that glamorous lifestyle, all that picture perfect stuff. But in all reality, that's what entrepreneurship is, and that's what it's going to continue to be. It's never like this one point where it's not going to be a balance. Like,
and how do you convey to and get through to your kids and let them know, hey, like, I'm not doing this just to push you guys off to the side. Like, this is really just supplying our lifestyle, and this is for us moving forward. How do you break that down to them?
Yeah, I'm always talking to my my youngest ones, I don't think they're old enough to understand. They're like 4 and 5. So they just know mommy's gone. Mommy's at work, right? But my 16-year-old who really, you know, might not need me physically, but needs me more emotionally, especially with the pandemic going on and her shift with having to do school online. It's just a reminder to always include her where I can. Like yesterday, I had to go run errands, but I'm like, you know what, come with me. You know, you get out of school early. So just always encouraging her to, you know, talk to me, even if I'm at work, text me. So just reassuring them that this is a sacrifice that I'm making for our family. And I do want to get to the point where I'm more hands off with my business, but right now it's still a new business and we're growing it. But I think that they see the labor and I think they respect it. So that's what is, for me, it makes me feel okay to work so hard because I know that my family, my husband, my kids, they respect what I'm doing. If they didn't believe in it, then it wouldn't work. But they believe in what I'm doing.
And I think that kind of plays back to what you were saying in the beginning with your family and the way you were growing up too. So are you kind of still instilling some of those same values, not to more so like just being crazy pushy, but showing them like, this is what's possible. These are the things that you can do.
That's exactly what it is. It's modeling it, right? Like I could tell my daughter all day, don't do. But the truth is she's going to do exactly what she sees me do. So for me, I'm just trying to be an example and model to her, like, you know what, you can go to school, you can have a career, you can have your own business, you can do whatever you want to do because she sees me doing it. And I saw my mom doing it and she saw her father doing it. So it really is generational, that ability to kind of think outside of the box, and it's modeling it. And that's what my kids see because I saw it.
I love it. And that's very powerful.
Yeah, a lot of those limiting beliefs that's usually surrounds. I think that's one of the big things we try to like break with this podcast. So like so many of us, we grow up in environments and in communities that like that type of thinking is so discouraged that like these conversations are necessary because people need to realize that like, you know, we associate Black with lack and poverty and all these other things, but our experience is so much more than that. Like your experience in your family, you just said this has been going on for generations. Your people always thought like that.
Right.
Like other people need to
understand that you don't have to think like, okay, even if your back's against the wall, it's all about a mindset. Like as long as you continue to believe that, hey, one day this is going to change, as long as I keep on putting in the work in,
I'm doing this for something. Like it's a reason behind this.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% about the mindset, because in those days that I wake up and I think I can't, right? In those days that I wake up and I know that I can, and I don't even question that I can, I do. So for me, part of what I do is important for me and my family, but it's also important for the young ladies that work for me, because sometimes they don't have that example. And so they look at me as that example. Not all of them, a lot of them come from good families, but there's some of them that, maybe they grew up in foster care. They grew up in a structured system where they really didn't see anybody thrive. They just saw people kind of survive in life. So when they look at me, some of the girls call me mom or Auntie Leah, because that's what it is. And I take that very seriously. I take that so seriously. So it really is about showing people, modeling, and showing people that it really is a mindset.